drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
This is a classic he said, she said situation. Or is it? The defense attorney says the drugs were there. But then Zachary Wester, the accused officer, quickly adds, I did not put the narcotics there. This immediate back and forth sets a dramatic tone right from the start. It's a bold claim, especially from someone who just had drugs found on them. So what do you think? Is he telling the truth? Or is this the beginning of a cover-up?
First up, we head to Jackson County, Florida, for the trial of Zachary Wester. The former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances. Wester's accused of planting drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
A substance that appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that? I do.
Here's the setup. We're in Jackson County, Florida for the trial of former sheriff's deputy Zachary Wester. He's facing an incredible 67 counts, including racketeering, fabricating evidence, and false imprisonment. The prosecution claims he planted drugs in at least a dozen cars during random traffic stops. Imagine this. You're just driving along, you get pulled over, and suddenly you're being arrested for drugs you've never even seen. It's a terrifying thought, right?
All of the drivers denied owning the drugs, but yet most were subsequently arrested. The arrest caused suspicion internally, and in 2018, Wester was suspended. 3 years later, the case went to trial. He pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement in a society.
The real kicker is that all the drivers insisted the drugs weren't theirs, but they were arrested anyway. This raises a major red flag. The situation got so suspicious that Wester was suspended in 2018. The prosecution perfectly sums up the gravity of this case. It's about the abuse of an incredible power and the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put in law enforcement. This isn't just about drugs, it's about a betrayal of public trust.
The prosecution relied on the defendant's own body cam footage to help argue their case. Stephen Van, a convicted felon, had recently gotten out of jail when Wester supposedly found methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Like the other drivers who testified, Van gave the officer permission to search his car because he claims he had nothing to hide.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
In a strange twist of fate, the key piece of evidence is the defendant's own body cam footage. The prosecution is using the very tool designed to ensure police accountability to expose a lack of it. We meet Stephen Van, a convicted felon who just got out of jail when Wester supposedly found meth in his car. Like others who testified, Van gave Wester permission to search his car because he had nothing to hide. This seems like a common sense decision, but in this case, it might have been a huge mistake. Would you have let the officer search your car?
While the jury got to watch most of the traffic stops, some recordings had mysteriously disappeared.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
Ironically, body cam footage would become the strongest element in the prosecution's case.
The plot thickens. While some of the body cam footage was used in court, other recordings from traffic stops mysteriously disappeared. This is a massive red flag. The prosecutor even asked the question we're all thinking. Why in the world would that have been deleted? It's an unspoken accusation of a cover-up, and it only adds to the drama and suspicion surrounding Wester.
Especially when it came to Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
At first, the officer's polite, even playful.
Anything anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Okay.
While Odom stands behind the vehicle, Wester begins his search. Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand. Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, sir.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
Now for the most damning piece of evidence, the Teresa Odom traffic stop. At first, Wester is super polite, even playful. But as he begins his search, something incredible happens. Notice as he puts on his gloves, there's a small item in his left hand. The prosecution argues this is a small bag of meth that he palms before pretending to find it in the car. It's an illusionist trick in a real-life court drama. Odom's firm "no sir" when asked if the drugs were hers is both heartbreaking and powerful. She's standing her ground against a system that failed her.
As far as motive, the prosecution claims the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible. Wester testified he never planted any drugs.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
And after 5 days and several witnesses, the jury was asked to render a verdict. If Wester's found guilty on all charges, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars.
The prosecution believes Wester's motive was ambition. He wanted to move up to the narcotics division. It's a disturbing thought that someone would ruin so many lives for a promotion. Wester, however, maintains his innocence, repeatedly saying, "The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there." The emotional tension is at an all-time high as the jury deliberates. Will they believe the officer's word or the undeniable video evidence? The stakes couldn't be higher, with a potential life sentence on the line.
After 7 hours, the jury returns with its verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Wester, we, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged in the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
The clerk went on to read the verdicts on all 67 charges.
Count 7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
In total, the crooked officer was found guilty on 19 charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Including misconduct in the arrests of Van and Teresa Odom. 11 of the 12 drivers filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in a state prison.
After 7 hours, the jury returns with a verdict. The suspense is palpable. The jury foreman reads the verdicts, one by one. Guilty of racketeering. Guilty of official misconduct. Wester is ultimately found guilty on 19 counts, including misconduct in the arrest of Van and Odom. In the end, Wester was sentenced to 12.5 years in prison, a fitting end for a crooked cop who abused his power. This case serves as a powerful reminder that while we place our trust in law enforcement, that trust must be earned and, when broken, held to account.